Good afternoon. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today in person and online for the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture, or IYAFA 2022 Closing Ceremony for Asia, which is co-hosted by Thailand Department of Fisheries, InfoFish, and TBTI Global Foundation, with the technical support of FAO. My name is Angela Lentisco, and I'm Fisheries and Aquaculture Officer here in the Regional Office of FAO. And it is my pleasure to be moderating this first session of the event. I'd like to inform you that this meeting will be live streamed and recorded for public sharing after the event. Before we hear from our distinguished speakers today, let us start by watching together the brief official video of the International Year.
Actions can have big impact, like a ripple effect. Small-scale fishing and aquaculture can bring food to one family and provides healthy nutrition to millions more. It brings value to all. Small-scale fishers and fish farmers also know what it means to preserve the balance in our ecosystem. But our livelihoods are at risk. Now more than ever, we need to be resilient, include us in decisions that affect us, and we will adapt and innovate with the changing tide. We may be small in scale, but our way of life will keep on making a difference and spread like ripples in the water.
Small-scale fisheries and aquaculture are certainly important for the Asia region. We estimate that 23 million tons of catch come from small-scale fisheries alone, and that more than 46 million people are either employed or work for subsistence in small-scale fisheries. It is therefore key that we celebrate the closing of the International Year as the beginning of a new era of support for small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. With great pleasure, I now invite Mr. Chalermchai Suwanarak, Director General of the Department of Fisheries of Thailand, to deliver his welcoming remarks. Mr. Suwanarak. The floor is yours.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Department of Fisheries of Thailand, too big to ignore Global Partnership for Small-Scale Fishery Research, or TBTI and InfoFish, it is my great pleasure and honor to extend my warm welcome to all of you who attend online and on present here and at the IYAFA Closing Ceremony for Asia. Today's event is with the theme toward a new era of support for small-scale fishery and aquaculture in Asia, which I would like to emphasize that this event is extremely important for artisanal fisher and small-scale fish farmers in our region. It is important to recall that Asia had the highest number of artisanal fish and small-scale fish farmers in the world, in which they play a vital role in contributing to our food system, livelihood, and environment at all levels. Since the UN General Assembly has proclaimed the IYAFA 2022, the Thai government also celebrated the IYAFA Thailand through a hybrid format in August of the same year. The highlight of the event was the panel discussion on challenge facing artisanal fishery and aquaculture in a changing world, which drew almost 1,000 Thai participants from all over the country. During the past year, Thailand has put effort to assist and support artisanal fishery and aquaculture, which can be divided into the 5 achievements. The first output is the development of national plan which regulate commercial and artisanal fishery, while also focusing on fishery resource utilization and income general to support fishers' livelihood. The second achievement is the approval of fishery policy in Thai water to encourage fisher group to aggregate to protect aquatic animal resource that they rely on. The third achievement is the action taken to empower artisanal fishers to establish local fishing communities, to manage their marine fishery resource in their own community, whereas artisanal farmers will transfer knowledge and technology for aquatic animal production in a correct and effective manner. The Thai government has continuously allocated an annual budget for technology transfer. Currently, there are 500,000 farmers registered with the Thai Department of Fishery. The fourth achievement is the establishment of the fisherman's shop in on 77 provinces in Thailand as a new marketing channel for small-scale producers to sell their products. This is also the mandate given by the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperative to emphasize the marketing of fish and fishery products. And the last one is promoting the implementation of the FAO voluntary guideline for securing sustainable small-scale fishery to ensure the sustainability of artisanal fishery and aquaculture, and to ensure gender equity in the sector. Ladies and gentlemen, our region effort and cooperation in promoting artisanal fishery and small-scale aquaculture by organizing the IYAFA Closing Ceremony for Asia today are considered concrete evidence of the achievement of Asia region. I am very confident that the role of artisanal fishery and small-scale aquaculture will be more empowered and supported than ever. Finally, I would like to express my gratitude to all speakers, FAO participants, and the organizing team that make this event possible. On this occasion, I declare the IYAFA 2022 Closing Ceremony for Asia open. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Khun Sawanara. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Nicole Franz. Nicole is joining us from the Fisheries and Aquaculture Division of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, which is headquartered in Rome, Italy. Please, Nicole.
Thank you very much, Angela, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you for this very important regional closing celebration. I will give you a small overview of the celebrations that happened around the world in 2022 for this international year. So before I do that, let me briefly recall the main objectives of this international year. The first objective was to enhance a global awareness, understanding, and actions to support the contribution and sustainable development of small-scale artisanal fisheries and aquaculture to food security and nutrition, poverty eradication, and the use of natural resources. Secondly, and equally important, the objective was to promote dialogue and collaboration among small-scale artisanal fishers, fish farmers, fish workers, governments, and other partners to further strengthen the capacity to enhance fisheries and aquaculture sustainability, social development, and well-being. So to support that, FAO, who was a lead agency for this international year, has produced a number of communication tools that were made available to our partners in all 6 official languages at least. That included, for example, specifications to produce gadgets, and you see some of the t-shirts and the bags and the bottles that have been produced to promote the International Year here. We had posters and roll-ups, we had virtual backgrounds, given that a lot of the events have taken place virtually due to the COVID challenges. We have a lot of animations for social media, looking at different thematic themes that are promoted throughout the year, and a collection of videos and also PowerPoint presentations on the International Year that are all available on the website. Social media is becoming increasingly important as a means of communication to reach broad audiences. And we have seen that about 3,000 multilingual posts have reached about 168 million people in relation to the celebrations of the International Year. We have also counted at least 28,000 multilingual IYAFA 2022 hashtag mentions across different social media platforms. And we have produced, as I mentioned before, a number of virtual assets that remain available also beyond the International Year and that are available online. We can share access to that also in the chat box for those that are following us online. And we had over 145,000 visitors during the year on the IYAFA website, where you can find all the information. And we have released 37 videos on small-scale fisheries and aquaculture that has close to 30,000 views on a dedicated IYAFA 2022 YouTube playlist. Overall, there were at least 264 events dedicated to the International Year that took place at the global level, at the regional level, or at the national level. These are all listed at the website of the International Year. It's too much to do justice to all of these events that have been organized, but this number shows you how many partners have bought into this idea and are recognizing the importance of the 2 subsectors. Similarly, we have counted at least 305 IYAFA 2022 related publications that took different formats. We have calendars like the one prepared by CFTEC here for the region, many publications on technical issues that are of priority importance for small-scale fisheries and aquaculture, videos, but also other initiatives. 2 countries have released dedicated postal stamps for the International Year. So those are all contributing to raising awareness about the sectors around the world. This region was very engaged and very active. So we also had counted here at least 31 celebrations in Asia, either at the regional or at the national level that took place. So thanks at this point for all of the partners from the regions for that. And there have also been 29 publications related to Asia specifically that have been produced in the context of this International Year. I would like to pause a moment here to show you that we also leveraged a lot of partnerships and collaborations. We have 61 organizations that have signed up as official supporters for the International Year, that were taking particular action to support the celebrations. And again, for this region, we have 8 that have taken that role, but many more, even if they have not signed up, they have very actively supported the celebrations of the year. So all of this has resulted in validating some of the key issues that had been identified already for the Global Action Plan that was informing the actions of the year, and that are now summarized as key recommendations coming out of this year. And you can see here that we have 8 major themes and areas, and these relate to environmental sustainability. It is fundamental to ensure that we have biodiversity and sustainable use of the resources for small-scale fisheries and aquaculture to sustain them as a livelihood basis for the future. Economic sustainability is equally important, so that requires that we enhance and empower equitable, inclusive value chains. Social sustainability, because we also need to make sure that those people that depend on small-scale fisheries for their livelihoods have a decent living. Governance, so participation is a key aspect. Gender equality and equity, because women are a big part of those in fisheries and in aquaculture. Food secure nutrition, we saw already the numbers of how much is produced, so we need to maintain that. Resilience, because we want these communities to be with us also in the future. And the one emerging topic is youth for blue transformation, because we need to have a future for small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. So, as was already said before, we see the end of the international year as being the beginning of a new area of support for small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. The 10th year's anniversary of the voluntary guidelines for securing sustainable small-scale fisheries provide a good entry point for that in 2024. The same with the upcoming Small-Scale Fisheries Summit, also to be held in 2024, at the margins of the FAO Committee on Fisheries session in 2024 in the summer of next year. So we count on having a strong voice from this region that will carry the learning and the experience from this important year also into the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I would like to now invite Mr. Zainal Arifin Fuad to come to the stage. Mr. Zainal is chair of the Indonesian Peasant Union for Foreign Relations. He's also active in La Via Campesina International Peasant Movement, and he joins us here as a representative of the Regional Advisory Group of the Global Strategic Framework in support of the implementation of the voluntary guidelines for securing sustainable small-scale fisheries in the context of food security and poverty eradication. Please, Mr. Zainal.
Your Excellency, Mr. Charles Wrannrmark, DG of Department of Fisheries, and distinguished ladies and gentlemen here online. So the advisory group of the Global Strategic Framework of FAO aims to support the implementation of voluntary guideline small fisheries for securing sustainable small fisheries in the context of food security and poverty eradication. The Global Strategic Framework is a partnership mechanism with advisory and facilitator role. So there are 3 regional advisory groups in Asia, in Africa, and in Latin America. So in Asia, the member of the regional advisory group is the member of the IPC, International Planning Committee for Food Sovereignty, consists of WFFB, WFF, and La Via Campesina. So our role is to support monitoring of the implementation of voluntary guidelines small-scale fisheries, to identify the priorities linked the implementation of voluntary guidelines small-scale fisheries, and third is to provide advice to FAO and also the friend of the guideline. It is a good thematic of the closing of IYAFA toward a new era of support for small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. Why? I quote the speak of the president of ECOSOC, so Mrs. Stoffels, that put the people first in drive to realize sustainable development goal. Why? There are 2 aspects. One, small-scale fisheries and aquaculture feed our people. They are guidance of the food sovereignty. So that's why we have to respect, recognize, fulfill, and facilitate their right. So it is a pleasure that there is a book from IYAFA that applying coherency, the human rights-based approach to small-scale fisheries to achieving multiple sustainable development goals. So in that books, they link with of course, the voluntary guidelines small-scale fisheries, for the guideline on the land tenure, fisheries and forest, and also UN DROP, United Nations Declaration on the Right of Vision and of people in rural area. And second aspect, why? Because now we can say they are in the poverty, hunger, criminalization, in territorial conflict. So if we look at the report of the regional state of food security and nutrition launching by FAO Asia Pacific on 24 January, that there are 1 billion people are moderately and severely food insecurity. So this part our challenge. And then we can see that there are a challenge in the period till from 2000 until last year. So why the hunger people is increased? So we have to deep discussion consideration about the global and regional food system. So we say that based our observation during the coffee last year, that there are lack of recognition of officer folk and indigenous people. So there is problem on the decision making process. And then also there is a problem on the women working in the fisheries are gradually marginalized and they not enjoy equal rights. And then also about our territorial rights, both to land, water, bodies, and natural resources. And also finally about the pollution of environment. So I quote the speech of Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of UN in the World Economic Forum last January in Davos. So he said that our world is plagued by a perfect storm, many crises, high inflation, problem and the climate change. And then I also quote from the speak of the Michael Farkey special right to food. So there are two stories said by Michael Farkey. One, how government international national doing nothing. So because that's why there are many hunger people. And second, this time for government and also international government to work together with us. So that's why it is good time of toward the new era of support for small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. So finally, we have recommendation. One is recalling the main contribution of small-scale fisheries in feeding our society. Then, considering the multi-dimension of crisis today, especially small family fisheries are in poverty, hunger, facing territorial conflict, and criminalization. And then we reconfirm our commitment to work with FAO in the future and for representation of the global advisory group and regional advisory group to have a concrete plan to action to empower young fisheries leaders and move the fight toward the implementation of the guideline towards. And then maintaining momentum of IYAFA in the next second year in order to scale small-scale fisheries guideline implement leading up to the 10th year anniversary of the endorsement. Now, a regional study group is conducting mapping of the implementation of volunteer and small fisheries, and we will launch this report in next April in Sri Lanka. Here, I want to invite you to attend the meeting in person or online. And finally, referring to UN Decade Family Farming 2019 till 2028, we small-scale family fisheries demand FAO and member state to have UN Decade of small-scale fisheries and food transition. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sainal. We now come to the next session, for which I would like to invite all the speakers to please join to the stage. And I will hand over the moderation of the next session to my colleague, Nicole. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Angela. And thank you also to all the speakers in our opening session. In this next session that will start now, we will ask our distinguished speakers to share a little bit more how they celebrated the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture last year. And also, more importantly, what else will be done to follow up on those celebrations. So we will hear today from different speakers, from government, from regional organizations, from NGOs, from academia and research, and importantly, also from small-scale fisheries movement themselves. It was of fundamental importance to have the participation of all of these different stakeholders in the celebrations, either individually or together, because it was really this collective effort that has brought the year to being what it was. So with this, I would like to start this new session towards a new area of support for small-scale fisheries and aquaculture in Asia. IYAFA highlights and sharing commitments in support of small-scale fisheries and aquaculture by inviting our host, the Thai Department of Fisheries, Director General of the Department of Fisheries of Thailand, Mr. Chalam Chai Suvarnagrak. Please.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning once again to all in person and online participants. It is honor and pleasure for me to share with you the commitments and vision of Thailand, not only to commemorate the IYAFA 2022 for this year, but also to elevate the artisanal fishery and small-scale aquaculture in Thailand toward better food security, prosperity, and sustainability from now on. Thailand has integrated the SDG into the 20-year national strategy, which is the main framework of country development. In order to support artisanal fishery and small-scale aquaculture, the Thai government also decided to deliver a long-term strategic plan by advancing the marine fishery management plan and policy for the next phase, and as well as setting the national policy for the fishery sector to drive forward the development of small-scale aquaculture, fish processing, and artisanal inland and capture fishery, apart from marine fishery management. Effective implementation of this plan requires prioritizing both sustainable resource utilization and income general to improve fisher livelihood and in a balanced manner, providing coastal artisanal fisher with the ability to manage fishery resource in their community on which they rely their fishing area, and continuing to transfer technology to small-scale fish farmer and processor. In addition, Thailand is determined to promote the advanced marketing for artisanal fisher and fish farmer, as well as encourage them to use marketing-related technologies to strengthen and expand their business in the future. Last but not least, one of the noteworthy activities that will take place soon in the development of a sustainable model for artisanal fishery and aquaculture based on Thailand's strong point, which is in the line with the BCG model. On this occasion, Thailand would like to share a video that features artisanal fishery and aquaculture in Thailand, and would like to invite you on to support this sector in your country for the full recovery from COVID-19 impacts, as well as for the sustainable development in all aspects of this sector in our region. Please watch the video. Thank you.
ประเทศไทยนั้นเป็นประเทศที่มีทรัพยากรทางธรรมชาติที่อุดมสมบูรณ์มีทั้งทะเลพื้นที่เพาะเลี้ยงสัตว์น้ำรวมไปถึงแหล่งน้ำสาธารณะน้อยใหญ่ที่สามารถผลิตอาหารสร้างงานสร้างอาชีพสร้างรายได้ให้กับคนในประเทศโดยเฉพาะในชุมชนชาวประมงที่มีวิถีชีวิตและการทำประมงที่สร้างสรรค์จากภูมิปัญญาของชาวบ้านที่น่าสนใจแฝงไปด้วยร่องรอยของการดำเนินชีวิตและวัฒนธรรมความเป็นอยู่แบบวิถีชีวิตที่เรียบง่ายและพอเพียงดังนั้นการส่งเสริมความเป็นอยู่ที่ดีขึ้นของชาวประมงซึ่งเป็นคนกลุ่มหลักในภาคการประมงให้มีความมั่นคงมั่งคั่งและยั่งยืนจึงเป็นเป้าหมายหลักของการพัฒนาการประมงของไทย
การทำประมงพื้นบ้านสำหรับคนในชุมชนนี้สำคัญมากๆสำคัญเรื่องที่หนึ่งก็คือว่าการทำประมงพื้นบ้านเนี่ยมันเป็นประมงขนาดเล็กเรื่องที่หนึ่งเราสามารถทำเลี้ยงครอบครัวได้อันนี้สำคัญกับเขามากๆสองเนี่ยเป็นผู้ประกอบการด้วยตัวเองทำมากได้มากแล้วก็สามารถเลือกที่จะมีเวลาอยู่กับครอบครัวเพราะฉะนั้นการประมงพื้นบ้านในชุมชนหมู่บ้านทุ่งน้อยเนี่ยสามารถเลี้ยงตัวเองได้แล้วก็เป็นเศรษฐกิจชุมชนท่ารากที่สำคัญอย่างยิ่ง
ในปัจจุบันประเทศไทยเป็นหนึ่งในประเทศผู้ผลิตสินค้าประมงที่สำคัญของโลกรวมทั้งเป็นประเทศที่พัฒนาการทำประมงและการเพาะเลี้ยงสัตว์น้ำอย่างก้าวหน้าซึ่งภาครัฐโดยกรมประมงได้ให้ความสำคัญกับการประมงพื้นบ้านและการเพาะเลี้ยงสัตว์น้ำมาอย่างต่อเนื่องและได้จัดทำพระราชกำหนดการประมงพุทธศักราช 2558 และที่แก้ไขเพิ่มเติมโดยให้ความสำคัญกับการจัดตั้งองค์กรชุมชนประมงท้องถิ่นและเปิดโอกาสให้ชาวประมงพื้นบ้านได้มีส่วนร่วมในการบริหารจัดการทรัพยากรประมงรวมทั้งพัฒนาและแก้ไขปัญหาในภาคการประมงทั้งในระดับจังหวัดและในระดับประเทศนอกจากนี้ยังได้มีการบริหารจัดการการทำประมงพื้นบ้านและการเพาะเลี้ยงสัตว์น้ำที่เป็นมิตรต่อสิ่งแวดล้อมไม่ทำลายระบบนิเวศและทรัพยากรประมงโดยใช้ BCG โมเดลมาเป็นแนวทางในการส่งเสริมและจัดทำโครงการฟื้นฟูทรัพยากรสัตว์น้ำในพื้นที่ชุมชนเช่นธนาคารบ้านปลาธนาคารปูม้าการเพาะพันธุ์สัตว์น้ำเคลื่อนที่และการปล่อยพันธุ์สัตว์น้ำลงแหล่งน้ำธรรมชาติ
ตั้งแต่มีธนาคารปูม้านะครับเมื่อชุมชนอื่นปล่อยลงชุมชนผมก็ปล่อยลงรวมกันนะครับสิ่งเหล่านี้มันจะไปไหนนะครับมันก็อยู่ในทะเลความอุดมสมบูรณ์ก็จะเพิ่มขึ้นเพิ่มรายได้กับพี่น้องชาวประมง
เรื่องรายได้ตรงนี้ที่ผลประโยชน์ได้มาผมก็ดีใจภูมิใจด้วยที่ว่าโครงการวัดบิดได้เข้ามาตรงนี้ทำให้พวกชาวบ้านของผมมีฮานเพราะว่าไม่ใช่ว่าฮานเสริมนะครับตอนนี้มันเป็นฮานประจำแล้วคนในชุมชนก็อยู่ดีกินดีขึ้น
อย่างไรก็ตามปัจจุบันทรัพยากรประมงมีอยู่อย่างจำกัดการจับสัตว์น้ำที่ได้มีจำนวนลดน้อยลงและต้องเผชิญกับปัญหาการเปลี่ยนแปลงทางสภาพภูมิอากาศอย่างหลีกเลี่ยงไม่ได้ซึ่งส่งผลกระทบต่อการทำประมงของประเทศเป็นอย่างมาก
สิ่งที่เปลี่ยนมากที่สุดก็คือว่าแม่น้ำโขงขึ้นลงไม่เป็นไปตามฤดูกาลซึ่งก่อนหน้านี้เนี่ยหน้าฝนเขาน้ำก็จะเยอะเต็มตลิ่งหลากไหลเข้าไปในลำน้ำสาขาพวกปลาก็จะอพยพเข้าไปวางไข่ในแม่น้ำสาขาพึ่งพาซึ่งกันและกันแล้วก็ช่วงหน้าแล้งค่อยๆลดระดับแล้วก็ชาวบ้านได้ใช้พื้นที่แถวริมโขงเนี่ยสำหรับปลูกผักนั้นสิ่งที่เราร้องขอกับหน่วยงานที่เกี่ยวข้องโดยเฉพาะกรมประมงให้มาช่วยกันเนี่ยมาช่วยศึกษาเรื่องนี้ร่วมกันเพราะว่าตรงนี้เนี่ยเป็นแหล่งปลาขนาดใหญ่ที่มันหล่อเลี้ยงน้ำสาขาด้วยเพราะฉะนั้นน้ำจืดก็จะได้รับผลกระทบ
นอกจากภารกิจสำคัญในการบริหารจัดการทรัพยากรประมงการส่งเสริมพัฒนาฟื้นฟูด้านการประมงพื้นบ้านและการเพาะเลี้ยงสัตว์น้ำรายย่อยให้เกิดความยั่งยืนกรมประมงยังกำหนดแนวทางการดำเนินงานตามแผนภัยพิบัติด้านประมงเพื่อรองรับต่อภัยคุกคามต่างๆรวมถึงภัยพิบัติและการเปลี่ยนแปลงสภาพภูมิอากาศรวมทั้งการชดเชยเยียวยาให้แก่ชาวประมงและเกษตรกรผู้เพาะเลี้ยงสัตว์น้ำรายย่อยเมื่อประสบภัยต่างๆอีกด้วยนอกจากนี้ยังได้มีการส่งเสริมการเพาะเลี้ยงสัตว์น้ำในพื้นที่ห่างไกลและทุรกันดารซึ่งถือว่ามีความสำคัญต่อความมั่นคงทางอาหารและโภชนาการของประชากรภายในประเทศรวมถึงได้มีการส่งเสริมและผลักดันสินค้าและผลิตภัณฑ์ประมงในระดับชุมชนโดยการเพิ่มมูลค่าผลิตภัณฑ์ประมงให้มีเอกลักษณ์และมีความหลากหลายได้มาตรฐานคุณภาพความปลอดภัยอาหารและความยั่งยืนของทรัพยากรตามความต้องการของผู้บริโภคทั้งในประเทศและต่างประเทศ
ก่อตั้งเริ่มแรกนะคะเราก็ล้มลุกคลุกคลานลองผิดลองถูกพอดีทางประมงก็เลยได้เข้ามาช่วยพาไปศึกษาดูงานที่จังหวัดนครพนมชัยบุรีเราก็เลยไปดูงานศึกษาดูงานกลับคืนมาก็โอเคค่ะผลิตภัณฑ์เราก็เริ่มไปได้รสชาติการเปลี่ยนแปลงแต่ก่อนเราก็ทำสูตรโบราณเนาะการพัฒนาของเรามันก็ก้าวขึ้นไปอีกขั้นหนึ่งโดยการสนับสนุนจากกรมประมง
และได้มีการเปิด Fisherman Shop ของกรมประมงเพื่อเพิ่มช่องทางการเข้าถึงตลาดให้แก่ชาวประมงท้องถิ่นและผู้ผลิตสัตว์น้ำรายย่อยในทุกจังหวัดของประเทศไทยมากขึ้นเราจึงกล่าวได้ว่าการทำประมงพื้นบ้านการเพาะเลี้ยงสัตว์น้ำและการแปรรูปสัตว์น้ำรายย่อยจึงเป็นภาคการผลิตที่สำคัญต่อระบบเศรษฐกิจไทยและเป็นรากฐานสำคัญในการพัฒนาและต่อยอดระบบอาหารระดับชุมชนระดับภูมิภาคและระดับประเทศไปสู่ความมั่นคงความมั่งคั่งและยั่งยืนการประมงพื้นบ้านยกระดับความมั่นคงมั่งคั่งและยั่งยืน
Thank you very much, Director General Suvarnarak, for your important speech, and also thank you very much to the colleagues from the Department of Fisheries of Thailand for sharing this informative video that illustrates the marine small-scale fisheries, the inland small-scale fisheries, the aquaculture, and also the value chain that is attached to those production systems. It is really very encouraging to see that there's so much political will and support to small-scale fisheries and aquaculture in a country where so many livelihoods depend on this sector. So thank you again. I would now like to invite our next speaker, Ms. Nakazato Tomoko, who is the Deputy Secretary General of the Southeast Asian Fisheries Development Center, or CFDEC. CFDEC is an international organization, and CFDEC is also one of the official IYAFA supporters. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Nicole. Sawadika, good afternoon. I'm Nakazato Tomoko, and it's my great pleasure to have an opportunity to share the implementation of CFDEC for artisanal fisheries and aquaculture. First of all, let me introduce the structure of CFDEC. The center comprises the Secretariat in Thailand and 5 technical departments in Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Philippines. CFDEC and the Secretary and the 5 technical departments, in collaboration with member countries and partners, have been providing to the sustainable development of small-scale fisheries and aquaculture in this region, which is categorized in these 4 topics. Today, I will briefly introduce these activities, and if you are interested in more details, you can refer to this book from CIFRIC, the celebration of the IYAFA. First, small-scale fisheries management. To raise the importance of small-scale fisheries in coastal resource management, CIFRIC and promoted various approaches and management tools for coastal and inland fisheries and aquaculture. For instance, as a capacity building for member countries, from 2014 to 2021, that are trained about 1,000 officers through the ecosystem approach to fisheries management or EAFM training course. Second, our resource enhancement program. CIFRIC has successfully completed the study on the construction and installation of durable artificial reef fish aggregation devices for coastal fishermen, and to provide a more stable and rich ecosystem for fishermen to exploit fishery resources. And also introduced set net fishing, it's a Japanese style, which is considered to be environmentally friendly in Thailand as a case study to develop sustainable coastal fisheries management. And third, safety at sea adaptation to climate change. CIFRIC has implemented the reasonable fishing technologies and practices project to promote the use of alternative resources in fisheries. And fourth, the post-harvest and marketing. CIFRIC conducted a study on surveyed ice system as one of the options for hygiene fishing producing applications on boarding. CIFRIC has promoting upgrading the quality of fish and fishery products from small-scale fisheries. And I would like to add the important assessment. It is necessary to assess the impact of COVID-19 on small-scale fishery livelihood in order to provide appropriate support to mitigate such an impact. CIFRIC conducted the study from 2020 to 2021 in selected sites in Laos, PDR, Myanmar, Philippines, and Thailand. Using a questionnaire based on the FAO recommendation. The results show that the impact of the COVID-19 is very severe, especially the reduction in the number of market channels and catch and harvest price and income. Based on this, CIFRIC would recommend other marketing strategies such as online selling, improving the skills to freshness of preserving and freshness, and the good practices in the processing of the fish and fishery product. So these are several ongoing and upcoming CIFRIC projects related to small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. For our commitment in supporting small-scale fisheries and aquaculture, CIFRIC welcome for global and regional initiatives and to enhance cooperation and collaboration. So thank you so much. And today, I'm very grateful for such a nice organization of this conference to strengthen our relationship. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Nakazato, for sharing how your organization is supporting the member countries here in the region through very specific and targeted projects that cover issues such as gender or management or safety at sea. And more importantly, also to share what you are planning for the future. So that is really, really very much appreciated and very important to take us to the next level of support for small-scale fisheries and aquaculture here in the region. Let us now focus on small-scale aquaculture. And who could do that better than Dr. Jia Huang, who is the Director General of the Network of Aquaculture Centers in Asia Pacific, or in short, NACA. NACA is also an intergovernmental organization that is supporting the countries here in the region. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Nico, friend. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to express my gratitude to TPTI, FAO Rep, DOF Thailand, and InfoFish for inviting me to speak at this closing ceremony for IYAFA. Take this opportunity, I would like to present you one community helps small-scale farmers for aquaculture transformation in Asia-Pacific region. First, let me give you some background on one community. It has been newly initiated as a cross-cutting program of NACA. As Nico introduced, we are an intergovernmental organization with 19 members. Our members produce 88% of the world's aquaculture production. The majority of this production is from small-scale farmers. One community is a concept for a holistic approach that integrates technical, economic, and human elements with the aquaculture value chain to create sustainable development. The aquaculture value chain is the basis of the one community concept for agriculture. Other supporting conditions related to the value chain also contribute to one community. Oh, this is an older slide. One of the key components of one community is aquaesthetics, which integrates technology, economy, and humanity to promote sustainable agriculture to the public. Aquaesthetics includes eco-friendly agriculture, aquatic tourism, ornamental aquatic organisms, aquatic culture, arts, and multimedia, aquatic food, aquatic healthcare, wine welfare, and integrated aquaesthetics. By using this approach, one community can promote the involvement of small-scale farmers in sustainable development to build harmonious cluster of small-scale producer, increase added values of products and services of small-scale producers, create market demands, and promote investment and innovations for small-scale producers. Now, let me give you an example of one community practices in China in action. I want to highlight the crayfish farming industry in China, which is a typical example of culture-driven development for a new industry. Before 2000, crayfish was considered an ecological disaster species and treated as a pest in China. However, its unique color and particular culinary style increasingly attracted the public. Local governments then start to vigorously promote crayfish festivals to form local brand activities, attracting millions of consumers. As a result, the crayfish farming industry grew 3 to 25 times faster than other crustaceans. In 2018, its production surpassed that of Panas becoming the largest farmed crustacean in China, reaching 2.6 million tons, and the total value chain accounts for $65 billion in 2021, with 70% tertiary value. So in conclusion, one community is innovative initiative that can help small-scale farmers in the Asia-Pacific region to transform the aquaculture practices towards a more sustainable future. By using the aqua-aesthetics approach, one community can promote social inclusiveness in all activities, unite small-scale producers, other stakeholders, and consumers to build productive, sustainable, eco-friendly, equitable, and enjoyable aquaculture value chain. We welcome collaborations with institutions, organizations, media, and other partners on one community and aquaculture transformation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Huang. And let me just repeat the figures he shared with us at the beginning. This region produces 88% of the global aquaculture production, and most of this comes from small-scale producers. So I think this alone gives a good justification that this year is not the end of something, but really the beginning of something even bigger. Thank you for sharing also these very innovative approaches that take into account the environmental, the social, and the economic dimension all together. Thank you. We have heard from government, we have heard from intergovernmental organization, so I think it is high time to now hear from civil society. And for that, I would like to invite Ms. Ravadi Prasad Chardon-Souk to join us. Ravadi is a director of the Sustainable Development Foundation here in Thailand, but she's joining us here today to represent the International Collective in Support of Fish Workers, or ICSF. Ravadi, over to you, please.
Good afternoon. Our Secretary General of the Department of Fishery, and also distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and many people online. Today, on behalf of International Collective of Fish Workers, in short ICSF, very pleased to be part of the whole community, organization, and the movement working promoting the right of small-scale fisheries, and they play a very important role in securing food and also contribute to sustainable development. ICSF, actually, we are so proud of our own network and organization that we have been working in the development of the SSF guideline and also be part of the implementation and make it visualize in action at field. And last year itself, after the VGSSF have been, in the document and in the policy, we organized number of international workshop among many different continents promoting VGSSF. And today, although we are talking about closing ceremony, but for us it's really a beginning of to make it even more actual and then seen in our eye the change of small-scale fisher right and also their inclusion in forward sustainable development. I would like to take this opportunity to highlight the recognition of small-scale fishery. They themselves, although we are talking here, make themselves visible, but then in reality, many of the people, even in Thailand and many parts of the world, do not really see them and know them well enough. They still are invisible. So this event and also with the VGSSF really become very significant tools and instruments to make this very big group of people, more than 80-90% of the producers, small-scale producer, visible and make them recognized. And I think this is very significant of the guideline. It is not a document, but then really the need that vulnerable group that need to be, pay attention to work with them. However, despite we have many of the vision and many of the policy try to address the issue and concern, but among our movement, when we organize our workshop, we still highlight that many of them are still in poverty. Many of them are still struggle, and many of them have been displaced and replaced by so-called development. And for us, development is really human security. Secure in our food, secure in our life, secure in our settlement, and secure our resources, and secure for the new generation. And that is something that I hope that this guideline would contribute to them. I would like also to highlight some of the major issues in order to, and today we are talking about it, and then maybe next year or the year to come, we're going to assess and see whether or not it had been changed. The issue of deterioration of the coastal and marine resources, and of course, inland water body had been, deteriorated, and that is very challenging for them to be able to continue. And then, so we need collaboration among many different academies and also officer and related organizations to really focusly addressing the issue. And then when we are addressing the issue, we need to have a very clear, specific, not general, to address the situation that is happening in that ecosystem. We also found that many of the small-scale fisher, they are now are not included in Thailand. We are lucky that we have mechanism including them, but still we need to ensure more governance, have their participation more meaningful, and be part of the decision making in developing the policy and strategy, plan of action, access to budget, and also to see whether the life of small-scale fishery had been really changed in sustainable development way. I would like to maybe in this occasion identify what we need to do in order to make significant change. One of the things, because many of us see that they are invisible, and many of them, women are not seen. are not included, are not counted as fishes. So I really would like to see the database system, segregated, gender segregated data system, the system that we formally include those who have not been registered to be in the, our tongue of data. And then when we make plan, we ensure that they are the target of our work or program. Another system is, I would like to, there are so many laws related on the use of, coastal resources and inland fishery. I would like to also to see the integration among many related stakeholders. I would like to see really the tenure right of small-scale fisher had been secure. And more of that, I want to see a very specific plan. Actually, it is not the movement of international network of collective fisher. We need to have really ensure that we need plan of action, target them specifically on addressing the issue that they have been facing. And women fisher has to be in the focus as well. And they need support, they need money, they have access to information, they need to access to decision making and be part of the actor for change, not only to accept whatever something that had been destroyed. We also need to ensure the ecosystem approach, because we cannot only dealing with the fishery activity anymore. We need to address the issue of climate change. We need to issue the concept of conservation. And that we really need to have the social inclusion, social development to be integrated in the fishery development. We cannot ignore working on the fishery production anymore. So for this opportunity, I'm really glad as the organization working in promoting right of small-scale fisher, be part of the movement, be part of international collective of fisher measure to be part in celebrating the VGSSF, and then we commit to continue our work in future. Thank you very much. You can really see the detail of what we are with the statement that I'm saying today in our website. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ravadi, for sharing. A lot of needs are still there that need to be addressed, as you heard. And ICSF is really part of the social movements that are supporting small-scale fishers and their organizations. So I hope that all of you that are active in small-scale fisheries can pay attention to these identified needs and challenges, and also work on the solutions together with the actors themselves. So far, we have not heard yet from research and academia. So therefore, we now turn to Professor Oscar Amarasinghe. He is a chancellor of the Ocean University of Sri Lanka, but he's also the president of the Sri Lanka Forum for Small-Scale Fisheries. This forum is quite innovative insofar that it brings together representatives from government, from academia, and from small-scale fisher organizations themselves to talk together and identify issues and related solutions. Oscar, please.
Ayubowan, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. In my speech, I am going to highlight 3 activities undertaken by the Sri Lanka Forum for Small-Scale Fisheries during IYAFA 2022, which I call Empowering the Small Fry. And the Sri Lanka Forum for Small-Scale Fisheries did this with great success because we are a partnership of academia, researchers, state actors, community actors, and we are a unity in diversity. So the first activity we undertook was remodeling the national fisheries policy by incorporating the relevant SSF guidelines. And this process had its link to what we did during 2018 and 2019, where we were engaged in implementing small-scale fishery guideline in Sri Lanka with assistance from ICSF and the FAO. The national consultation process produced a small-scale fisheries policy, which we submitted
to the government, and the government worked on this during 2021 and 22. And finally, with our participation last December, we finalized the policy, and the process was concluded in January 2023. And I think I consider this as a great victory for the fishing people in Sri Lanka. And the next activity was undertaken last year. You know that Sri Lanka was hit badly by an economic crisis and an energy crisis. And fishing came to a standstill. No fuel, no fishing. So a forum organized an interactive platform inviting energy experts, boatyards, the state actors, community actors, academia, researchers, who deliberated upon their knowledge and experience on the use of solar panels on boats, sail-assisted propulsion, and battery-operated outboard motors. The deliberations produced 3 briefing papers to the government with recommendations. The third activity we undertook was South and Southeast Asian Conference on Small-Scale Fisheries and Aquaculture, which we called Fishing for Life Conference, which was held during 19th and 20th of September last year. And this was a unique conference because we allocated equal time for academic sessions and for voice of the people presented by civil society organizations. At the conclusion of the conference, we produced a statement, a roadmap for securing sustainable small-scale fisheries in the region. Now, looking into the future, there are so many issues that we have to deal with, but I will highlight only 3 things. First, the need to understand the system. Our knowledge of, the knowledge of academia and researchers of what is happening below water is very strong. But we know very little about what is happening above water, the communities. And we have even failed to understand fishing is a way of life. Second thing I want to highlight is the dichotomy of management. We know that with excessive fishing pressure, catch per boat is declining. People are complaining that their livelihoods are becoming non-sustainable. And governments are, taking steps to provide them with social protection. At the same time, one of the roles of the management is to reduce fishing effort, to protect the resources. So this is a dichotomy that we have to address soon. Finally, I am showing you 2 vicious circles. Now, most of the issues faced by small-scale fishers today are contained within these 2 circles. Look at the circle on your right, vicious circle number 1, vulnerability and poverty. Once you are trapped in it, very difficult to escape. Now, one way of escape is to fall back on natural resources, use them more intensively. People do it often, using destructive gear. And in the long run, you will degrade the resources and become more vulnerable. And although not a panacea, SSR guidelines can effectively address most of these issues. And therefore, Sri Lanka Forum for Small-Scale Fisheries strongly recommend the implementation of SSR guidelines in our region. With a few remarks, I will wind up my speech and thank you very much for your attention. I go.
Thank you very much, Oscar, for sharing what you're driving in Sri Lanka at the national level with very concrete action, like the solutions in terms of technology to tackle the issue of the petrol that you faced, but also beyond the country through that conference, for example, that you organized for the whole region, which also provided an important statement that I invite all of the people that are joining here, either in person or online, to also consult and keep in mind when you're planning work in the region in support of small-scale fisheries. Our next speaker is Charlene Anthony Sami. She's from InfoFish, the director, which is an intergovernmental organization providing marketing information and technical advisory services here in the Asia-Pacific region. And Charlene is joining us from Malaysia. Charlene, over to you, please.
Thank you, Ms. Nicole. Hello, everyone, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. It's really an honor to be here. First of all, to be a co-organizer of this milestone event. And thanks to Department of Fisheries Thailand and TVTI for the excellent organization of this event that we are all celebrating. InfoFish joins other organizations and entities in collaborating or in celebrating IYAFA 2022. Just to briefly introduce InfoFish, we are an intergovernmental organization set up by FAO in 1981 to provide marketing information and technical advisory services to the industry in the Asia-Pacific region and beyond. We are headquartered in Kuala Lumpur. Malaysia is one of our member countries, and together we have 11 other member countries in the Asia-Pacific region that InfoFish is providing support to. InfoFish's strength is in its organization's expertise and the grasp of the global fisheries and market situations. And this has really been the bedrock of the support provided to supporting the mission of the organization, while we maintain a very close rapport with the global fishery industry over the past 40 years. And through this time, we have collaborated with FAO and other international agencies such as CFC, the IFAD, the USDA, UNSCAP, and trained more than 4,000 persons in a wide range of disciplines such as fish handling, processing, quality control, product market diversification, aquaculture, and marketing. Throughout all these activities, InfoFish is keenly aware that the small-scale fisheries and aquaculture sector, more than anyone or anything else, are the people who really matter. We fully support the ideals contained in the IYAFA 2022 Global Action Plan for Action, environmental, economic, and social sustainability, governance, gender equality, equity, food security, nutrition, and resilience. We have been, even prior to IYAFA 2022, actively promoting and advocating the small-scale fisheries through our InfoFish International magazine, which has always, wherever possible, featured small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. And with the launch of IYAFA, we have given added emphasis to covering the topics relevant to small-scale fisheries, reflecting our support to the objectives of IYAFA 2022. And this includes the coverage of using cover photos related to small-scale fishes, articles related to small-scale fisheries, interviews with industry profiles and leading experts, as you can see from the cover page of the magazine. We also have a poster that is just behind the event of the little boy who was featured in the first issue of InfoFish International in 2022. These are just visuals of some of the articles covered throughout the year. In addition to what InfoFish has been doing, we've also been had the pleasure and opportunity to work with FAO in organizing FAO activities in celebrating the IYAFA with the FAO Regional Asia and Pacific Office in Bangkok. And this was with the launching of IYAFA 2022 last year, 29th and 30th of March, with 2 webinars putting the spotlight on Asia as the home to the world's majority of small-scale fishers. We also had interviews with the small-scale fishers who also were presented during the webinars. In addition, we launched the e-photo book. I think many of you would have seen the hard copy version as well, but this was the place or the time when we launched the e-photo book, which was a collection of photos of small-scale fishers in the region. This was another study that we did on the resilience and seizing opportunities of small-scale fisheries during the COVID-19 pandemic, where the study was carried out in 8 countries in this region, and brought out very interesting stories and case studies of how the small-scale fishers really survived during this period. Just to let you know that all these documents or publications are available from FAO website to be downloaded. We also provided support to the FAO Pacific office in celebrating IYAFA, and again with the launch of the event on the 31st of March, with the theme Strengthening the Voice of Pacific Fishers in collaboration with SPC. As you can see, these are the visual of the webinars, and we also had a doodle that was created right at the end of the webinar, highlighting all the topics and discussions took place during the webinar. It was a very interesting one. that really brought out the voices from the Pacific region. And in addition to that, we provided support to FAO in lending help to the country, at country level celebrations in some of the Pacific Island countries. These are visuals in Samoa and Kiribati. And we had also in Fiji, they also had some celebration, and then this was in Tonga. We also designed calendars in commemoration of IYAFA for the Pacific Island countries and distributed them to 14 Pacific Island countries. We have 1 or 2 copies that you can have a look at the back, those who are here physically. As part of the ongoing support, it was a year, throughout the year, promotion of the event for the Pacific community. So we had a monthly promotion of all the photographs that were collected for the calendar, promoted through social media, through FAO Twitter accounts, as well as Infofish. So it was a really promotion, active promotion done in promoting small-scale fishes in the Pacific. Again, we also facilitated the production of short videos and photo stories from selected Pacific Island countries to highlight the artisanal fisheries and aquaculture stories from the Pacific. All these photographs and videos are available on the IYAFA 2022 website. And we continue to pledge our support to continue advocating small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. And we welcome contributions, industry articles, cover shots for Infofish International Magazine. Also collaboration towards activities related to small-scale fishes and aquaculture. On behalf of Infofish, I would like to extend my appreciation to FAO and all international partners for giving us the opportunity to work together in uplifting the small-scale fisheries and aquaculture sector. We celebrate the start of this IYAFA ending with our commitments. Let's continue to strengthen the voices of these unsung heroes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shalene. Infofish has been actively launching this international year in the region, as you heard, and supported it across the region, both Asia and the Pacific. So it's a pleasure to have you here also and hear the summary of all the support provided and the commitment to future support. With that, I would now like to invite Professor Ratana Chuangpakdi, who is a university research professor in geography at Memorial University of Newfoundland in Canada. She's with us here today because she's also leading a major global research partnership called Too Big to Ignore, or TBTI, which aims at elevating the profile of small-scale fisheries and rectifying their marginalization in national and international policies. Ratana will be joined today virtually by 3 more representatives of the TBTI network, which I will briefly introduce. They are from Japan, the Philippines, and from Bangladesh. The first speaker from TBTI Japan is Ms. Jinji Lee. She's an associate professor in the School of Marine Science and Technology at Tokai University in Japan. We will then hear from the TBTI speaker from the Philippines, Dr. Alice Ferrer, who's a professor in economics and a scientist from the University of the Philippines, Visayas, and currently she is the Dean of the College of Art and Sciences. The next speaker will then be from Too Big to Ignore Bangladesh, Dr. Mahmoud Islam. He's an associate professor at the Department of Coastal and Marine Fisheries at Sylhet Agriculture University in Bangladesh. Ratana, please start sharing the great initiatives led by TBTI to celebrate the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture in 2022.
Thank you very much, Nicole, for that introduction. I would like, first of all, to thank the Department of Fisheries for hosting this wonderful event, and for all of you, His Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here and also online. So congratulations, everyone, for your achievements during IYAFA 2022. It is really exciting to hear what you plan to do in the years to come to support small-scale fisheries in the region and beyond. As a network of 600 members from 60 countries, Too Big to Ignore Global Partnership, or TBTI, has been doing our part to support sustainable and viable small-scale fisheries. We focus especially on conducting in-depth research to improve governance for small-scale fisheries and to promote the implementation of the small-scale fisheries guidelines. We also conduct transdisciplinary training, both online and on-site, to help build research and governance capacity. Another key aspect of our work is to enhance information and mobilize knowledge about small-scale fisheries. For this, we create a web-based open access information system to help elevate the profile of small-scale fisheries, and we produce downloadable books, reports, and newsletters for the general public. TBTI is a host of the World Congress on Small-Scale Fisheries. To help celebrate IYAFA 2022, we organized 5 regional congresses around the world. I would like now to invite my colleague, Dr. Yinji Lee from Tokai University, who hosted the regional congress for Asia Pacific, to tell us what happened there. Yinji is also the coordinator of TBTI Japan, and she will tell us the activity about that. Thanks. Yinji.
Konnichiwa. Good afternoon from Japan. My name is Yinji Lee. I'm representing the TBTI Japan Research Network. As Ratana said, TBTI Japan hosted the 4th World Small-Scale Fisheries Congress for Asia Pacific in May last year. The Congress brought together 250 delegates from more than 30 countries to discuss the following themes: adjusting justice lens, adjusting the gender lens, the food lens, the governance lens, the financial lens, and the research lens. Together, they contributed to building forward better for small-scale fisheries in the region. The main message from the Congress is the importance of the concept togetherness, or ichidanketsu in Japanese, which was argued as a necessary condition for building forward better. As a follow-up from the Congress, we, TBTI Japan, plan to raise awareness and build capacity for small-scale fisheries, especially to support the full implementation of the small-scale fisheries guidelines in Japan. One example of this is in our publications. We published our first ebook, In the Era of Big Change, in 2020, which captures all aspects of Japanese small-scale fisheries, with 48 authors and 17 short communications. Last year, we published the Japanese translation of Professor Ento's book, Life Above Water. TBTI Japan is also the host of Girls Who Fish Japan, which is a sister program of the same name, originated in Canada. This is one of our outreach activities, aiming at improving gender situations by bringing girls and women to fishing communities to learn and experience fishing activities, traditions, and culture. Finally, I'm really happy to announce one of our exciting future plans. That is the launch of the Small-Scale Fisheries White Paper project. The paper will include all aspects of small-scale fisheries, including the very important lenses areas such as blue justice, gender, and umigyo, a new Japanese concept, as well as the fishers' voices. This white paper will be published every 4 years, available in both Japanese and English. The project will be launched on World Fisheries Day of this year. Thank you very much for your continuous support of TBTI Japan. ありがとうございます。よろしくお願いします。Thank you.
G, for your wonderful hosting of the Congress. It's really exciting to hear also about what you're doing in TBTI Japan, especially with the Girls Who Fish program. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Alice Ferrer at the University of the Philippines, Visayas, to tell us about TBTI Philippines.
Thank you, Ratana. Mabuhay from the Philippines. The National Consortium for Small-Scale Fisheries Research and Development, or Too Big to Ignore Philippines, is a research network and knowledge mobilization partnership that focuses on addressing issues and concerns affecting the viability and sustainability of small-scale fisheries in the Philippines. It was established in 2022 in line with the celebration of the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture. The main goal of TBTI Philippines is to strengthen the system of collaboration and partnership in the country, to develop and enhance the capacity of organizations and local government units engaged and with interest in SSF research and capacity building. The official launch of TBTI Philippines took place on 21 November 2022. That was the World Fisheries Day at the University of the Philippines, Visayas. 32 heads and representatives of the founding member organizations, and these are state universities and colleges, partners and guests attended the hybrid event. While most of our activities during the first year was focused on organizing and founding the TBTI Philippines, we are also working on producing an ebook titled Portrait of Small-Scale Fishers in the Philippines. The 7-minute sneak peek video of the ebook was part of the TBTI Philippines launching event. The ebook is a compilation of more than 70 essays and stories on small-scale fishers in the Philippines. It will help shed light on the meaning of what is small or small-scale by distilling the meaning from the small-scale fishers themselves. At the moment, we are looking forward to the formal signing of the Memorandum of Agreement, the first TBTI Philippines Assembly, and the official launch of the ebook in June 2023. Starting March of this year, we will have a monthly webinar to share the results of SSF research in the Philippines. We at the TBTI Philippines are hopeful that this commitment to small-scale fisheries research and development through sharing of resources, expertise, and facilities to come up with information vital to policy-making processes in the country could better support small-scale fisheries and their communities in the Philippines and in the region. Thank you. Salamat from the Philippines.
Thank you so much, Alice, for that. Sounds like you're going to have a very busy year, and we look forward to the release of the ebook in June. So the final speaker in our group is Dr. Mahmood Islam of Sylhet Agriculture University. So Mahmood, please share your activities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Ratana. TBTI Bangladesh is the newest hub of TBTI Global in Asia Pacific. It embarks on promoting the issue of small-scale fisheries sustainability in Bangladesh and aim to influence public policy and decision-making. In addition, TBTI Bangladesh is also set to work on a wide range of issues: fishing communities' well-being, social justice, and protecting the environment. To celebrate IYAFA 2022, TBTI Bangladesh is publishing a book on small-scale fisheries of Bangladesh titled Small in Scale, Big in Contribution, Advancing Knowledge of Small-Scale Fisheries in Bangladesh. The book provides an overview of the importance of small-scale fisheries and the challenges they face and the opportunity they offer. It also explores various types of small-scale fisheries, examine the economic and social impacts of fisheries, and provide insights into how we can ensure the future of small-scale fisheries in Bangladesh. TBTI Bangladesh is headquartered at Sylhet Agriculture University that organized the second conference on small-scale fisheries in 2022. In the coming year, TBTI Bangladesh works will include conducting evidence-based research to support sustainable small-scale fisheries in Bangladesh, ensuring blue justice agenda to address discrimination or inequality in small-scale fisheries, forming network with researchers and grassroots organizations who share their goals and visions, and helping to create an enabling environment towards implementation of voluntary guidelines for securing small-scale fisheries in Bangladesh. Overall, the activities and vision of TBTI Bangladesh are focused on making a positive impact on small-scale fisheries of Bangladesh by pursuing for a change. We welcome collaboration and support from organizations with vision, with similar vision, both within and outside Bangladesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahmood, and congratulations on getting TBTI Bangladesh off the ground. As you have heard, TBTI Global and the country hubs organize our activities to help increase visibility of small-scale fisheries, to recognize their importance, and to build research and governance capacity for viable and sustainable small-scale fisheries. Our commitment for the coming years is to change people's mindset about small-scale fisheries, from seeing them as problems to seeing them as solutions. We would also be working with the Thailand Department of Fisheries with funding from the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation to develop guidebook to help improve small-scale fisheries data collection and information system. We believe that with better knowledge and understanding about small-scale fisheries, we can address many of the world's fisheries problems and achieve several of the Sustainable Development Goals. To that end, we will see that it is not only life below water that will be protected, but also life above water, which really matters for small-scale fisheries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ratana, and thank you also for the TBTI colleague contributions from Japan, from the Philippines, and from Bangladesh. It's a real privilege to have such a network of dedicated researchers that are giving their knowledge and investing their time in support to small-scale fisheries. So this is really something that I hope we can see also growing in the coming years, and that many researchers are inspired to join this network, to partner with it, and to grow it, that it becomes even stronger and bigger in the future. Thank you very much again. To conclude this session, we will now turn to yet another country here in the region. We will do that by watching together a video that was prepared by the NGO China Blue Sustainability Institute. And China Blue is also one of the official IYAFA supporters. Please, the video.
This is Han from China Blue. We are a locally based NGO in China, on the tropical island Hainan, facing the South China Sea, which embraces beautiful coasts and culturally diverse small-scale fishery and aquaculture communities. Since 2019, China Blue has taken thousands of photos and videos of fishing villages featuring artisanal fishers and fish farmers, a so-called Bring Fish to Table, Bring Fisher Home project. We broadcast a short documentary film and developed photo exhibitions for both city museums and fishing villages, attracting tens of thousands of people. Many fishers and fish farmers never had a photo of them. Now, when they look at our photo exhibitions, they started appreciating the beauty of themselves and their lives. In the past year, to celebrate IYAFA, we continued organizing photo exhibitions online and offline to advocate for the important values and sustainability challenges of small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. We published articles in InfoFish and the Chinese magazine, which some of them got reposted by the FAO website. Another photo book will also be published here in Chinese, which will become a major piece and the first in Hainan's history to acknowledge traditional fishers. As the supporter of IYAFA, we assisted SSF Hub to successfully hold the IYAFA 2022 photo contest by soliciting photos from Chinese participants. 3 of them won awards. We organized a workshop in a fishing village to encourage people to understand its challenges under transformation. Besides storytelling, we also devoted efforts to empower fishery communities. We helped a fisher co-op scientifically bottom-seeding shellfish and designing eco-tours that integrate their traditional knowledge and art crafts, rebuilding their cultural pride. We also helped the small-scale tilapia farmers adapt to the increasingly strict environmental regulations on farm wastewater treatment. we worked with engineers to customize cost-effective treatment facilities for small-scale farmers and help them access aquaculture insurance to enhance their resilience against the climate change effects. With all the above efforts, we know there's still a long way to go, as we are committed to helping artisanal fishers and fish farmers in Hainan transform towards sustainability. In 2023, we will continue exploring the community-based fishery management and coastal conservation in Hainan. We feel grateful to have the partnership with FAO and other fellow organizations. Let's together bring fish to table, bring fisher home. Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed this video contribution from China. It is quite amazing how much is happening in the different countries on the ground, how much knowledge is there. We heard a lot about the challenges, but I think we also heard quite a bit about solutions that are already there. So I hope we find ways to continue exchanging on those solutions, to share them, to upscale them, and to really apply them across the world. So this is really a huge global learning experience for all of us. With this, we are now actually coming to our final to thank everybody here in the room, but also in the region who has contributed to celebrating this year, who has organized something in a local community, at the country level, at the regional level, or even at the global level. We needed all of the support. It was really a year that to all of us, and I think many of you have shown how much creativity can be generated and how dedicated people can really be inspired by using an opportunity like this international year to take action and to contribute collectively to this global effort to give more visibility to small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. And I think that is something that we heard. There is still this need to actually provide that visibility, to understand how complex the small-scale fisheries and aquaculture sector are. No? We often still have an image of one man in a boat, but we heard the importance of gender. No? Small-scale fisheries is also a woman maybe collecting seaweed or processing the fish that we then all eat. So learning about that, becoming more aware of that, and acting accordingly is really something that we would like to continue working together with all of you. Thank you very much again. With this, I would like to turn to the last session speaker and to invite my colleague, Mr. Simon van Smith. He's a senior regional fisheries officer in the FAO Bangkok office here for Asia and the Pacific region, and he will deliver the closing remarks for this event.
Thank you, Nicole. คุณเฉลิมชัย สุวรรณรัตน์ Deputy Director General of the Department of Fisheries, Thailand. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity given to FAO to present the summary remarks to this closing ceremony for the International Year on Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture. We've heard that artisanal fisheries and aquaculture are hugely important in Asia. They are an aquatic food with an important role in both national and local food security and economies, and they provide livelihoods to millions of people in Asia from both fresh and marine waters. At least half of the people employed in small-scale fisheries and aquaculture are women, so it is an enormous and important sector for both men and women, but also for youth. They also contribute to biodiversity and ecosystem conservation, and they preserve cultural heritage. We've had examples today from our speakers. But there is a need to increase the visibility of small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. We've heard that information is vital to policy-making processes in the country, and that we need evidence-based research as well as local knowledge to support sustainable small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. We need to challenge the perception of the idea that there's an inefficiency of small-scale with both small-scale fisheries and small-scale aquaculture. And we heard that we have to change perspectives about the idea that SSF and SSA, small-scale fisheries and small-scale aquaculture, turning them from problems to solutions. They can provide solutions. And we need to recognize the potential of small-scale fisheries and aquaculture as low-risk systems for food production and livelihood diversification. We've also been hearing from our other speakers that it's critical to involve small-scale fisheries stakeholders in decision-making regarding the management of their resources and the use of marine and aquatic space, that we must involve them in all decisions affecting their rights, their access to these resources, their livelihoods, skills, and capacity development programs that we have around that. We also can build on the support provided by the Asia Regional Advisory Group for Small-Scale Fisheries convened under the IPC. The purpose of the Regional Advisory Group is to represent the interests of small-scale fishers and support the implementation of the voluntary guidelines. It's an opportunity for small-scale fishery actors to engage and utilize their advice, and we strongly encourage governments, agencies, and other organizations to work with the Asia Regional Advisory Group to promote participation in the implementation of the SSF guidelines. We've heard also that secure tenure and its responsible governance is critical for small-scale fisheries, as well as for small-scale aquaculture. Protecting customary rights, access, and traditional tenure. We need to ensure that there is consultation, participation, transparency, and accountability from policies that may negatively impact the interests of small-scale fisheries and small-scale aquaculture. These range from the competing interests of conservation, protected areas, tourism, freshwater management, infrastructure development, industrial-scale activities, and blue economy initiatives. All may present opportunities, but they may also present risks. We also need to protect from pollution, degradation from habitats, and other impacts on these resources. We must promote fisheries management that is sensitive to the needs of small-scale fisheries, designating and implementing small-scale fishing zones, but we are linking these to both tenure and rights, but noting that with rights come responsibility. We must support, coordinate, and harmonize measures for conservation and sustainable use of these fisheries resources. And that means we must address overcapacity and overfishing in both small-scale and commercial and industrial sectors. We should be investing in stock assessment and small-scale fisheries data for management. And we also need to combat IUU fishing and support monitoring, control, and surveillance to ensure that these rights and access that we're delivering for small-scale fisheries are truly protected. We've been hearing that we should support small-scale fisheries and small-scale aquaculture access to markets. We should be working to support gender and culturally appropriate capacity building and awareness of improved post-harvest and handling technologies, promoting equitable access to market information for fishers and fish processors. Regulation and ensuring production of safe and healthy food from small-scale fishery processing facilities is critical if they are going to engage in markets. And the same goes for small-scale aquaculture. We can help by providing fish products certification, both training and programs for certification. And addressing barriers to regional trade in fish and fish products will increase the access of markets from the small-scale sector. The sector is risky. The sector also has its vulnerabilities, and it's important that we promote decent work, safety, and decent and safe operations in both small-scale fisheries and small-scale aquaculture. We should identify the elements of poor or unsafe practice and underlying drivers to that, seeking solutions with stakeholders. We could introduce guidelines for safety at sea and inland waters, as well as safe aquaculture practices, and also work to improve and provide safe infrastructure and landing sites. Weather forecasts and early warning are important for fishers' safety and security at sea. And we should be promoting risk communication and awareness so that fishers and fish farmers are aware of the risks that they face and how to address them. Capacity building is critical for this sector. We need to secure fisheries resources, but as we've heard, we also have to sustain livelihoods and escape the poverty traps. Small-scale aquaculture can also be vulnerable when farmers have limited knowledge and weak management. Supporting training and awareness will help overcome these challenges, and we need to create adequate training and employment opportunities for youth in fishing and rural communities to offer viable livelihood alternatives. And importantly, and as we've heard, we should support and empower women's organizations. Social protection is still vitally important for vulnerable SSF and SSA households in our region. Our region contains the largest number of small-scale fishers and small-scale aquacultures, and many are in extreme poverty or in poor conditions. We should be supporting fair access to credit and assist with preferential rates. We need to develop reasonable insurance and compensation mechanisms to address crises and natural disasters that frequently confront this sector. Providing access to occupational health and care facilities has also been noted by our presenters. And recognizing the challenges and hardships faced by women and developing policies to address gender-related discrimination is going to be critical in delivering equitable solutions. We've heard that 2024, next year, will be the 10th year anniversary of the adoption of the FAO voluntary guidelines on small-scale fisheries. This comes after the 2022 decade anniversary of the FAO voluntary guidelines on responsible governance of tenure. Implementation of both of these FAO guidelines is a pathway to address many of the issues that I've just listed here, and it's a contribution to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. The year of artisanal fisheries and aquaculture is coming to a close. But it's not closing, it's really just beginning. As we take stock and have heard today about all of the activities that have taken place over the past year, we are now looking forward to a very bright future of the next steps for small-scale fisheries and small-scale aquaculture. In this list, there are a number of areas that we've already been scoping out about where we're already planning to take the next steps. We've heard about national plans of action for implementation of the voluntary guidelines and dedicated policies being developed. We have a small-scale fisheries summit biennially now convened by FAO or in the margins of the FAO Committee on Fisheries, and also a range of research and information projects, as well as regional workshops for exchanging information on appropriate management, and other type initiatives that will focus on the challenges and issues that are facing small-scale fisheries and small-scale aquaculture. In closing, we would like to acknowledge and thank all of you who've made IYAFA a success. In particular, we'd like to thank the Department of Fisheries Thailand for supporting IYAFA year activities and hosting this excellent event and for the excellent arrangements that have been made. We would also like to thank TBTI and Infofish for all of your efforts in co-organizing and coordinating, as well as all of our presenters today, including the Asia Regional Advisory Group, who are all here, or several are here, representatives of ICSF, CFDEC, and NACA. We've also had input from civil society partners, research, and country fisheries departments, and regional organizations in their countries, and we thank you all for all of your efforts this year. And finally, a sincere thank you to the vision and the support from the government of Sweden, which has made its recognition of small-scale fisheries a tremendous support to this international year and the programs that we've been hearing about. With that conclusion, I'd like to thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Simon, for pulling together these messages so efficiently. These will be really the stepping stones for the next phase. So everyone, I would now like to invite you, before we close, to give a big round of applause for all of the speakers, for our hosts, co-organizers, but also for all of you who are here in person or here online, for dedicating the time to listen to this and to learn from our colleagues who have shared their experiences and their initiatives with us here. This is really, as we often said today, not the end, but it's the beginning of a new area of support for small-scale fisheries and aquaculture. Thank you very much.